Understanding Mother Stories podcast with Adeline Dubreuil. Your 10 minutes to talk about mothering and matrescence. Hello Mama! Today we are quickly going through a question that actually makes for debate around can we or can we not spoil our baby? We're talking here when we respond to them, we hold them, carry them, we're with them to support them for sleep, for playing, or anything we can do with our babies. So, we all know that in many countries, moms and parents don't get long parental leave. They have a baby and quite quickly they need to be going back to work. They're expected to be the same person and the same worker than they were before. Nothing happened, like they're not a parent who has a child to respond to outside of work. And that's a problem. And it started a long time ago with the Industrial Revolution and both parents often working specific and or long hours away from their children. Because of this, juggling the parenting, nurturing the babies and toddlers and work at the same time became really hard because a young parent with a baby or a toddler is not necessarily going to be as rested. Their brain has to do more, has to think about more and about others and more than just themselves and work. This doesn't mean that we can't do our work just as well. It just means that often enough, employers and companies are not ready to adapt to their employees' reality. So, while it is slowly getting better in certain domain, it's still quite a widespread issue for parents, especially moms. So what happened when this started is that instead of adapting to the baby and children's needs and make different hours, having more flexibility for the parents, we opened new industries to make it faster and easier for parents to keep being productive at work while still potentially care for their children. It opened the door to more consumerism and a little bit or sometimes a lot of family disconnection and extra stress. So, to make it faster to feed our children, we have encouraged formula over breastfeeding, plastic diapers over cloth diapers, pre-made baby food over homemade food, expensive swinging chairs that work on power versus rocking our babies and having them close to us, and the sacrosanct sleep training versus responding to our babies at night. So, I'm not here to tell you that this or that is good or bad. Some of these decisions are very personal to each family. But my concern is that many of these decisions are actually not made so parents can align their life with what they want for their family. It's done out of a pressure, out of a fast-paced world and practicality versus taking the time to think about what we want and aligning our hopes and dreams with our action and mainly to adapt to our children's needs. So, what babies need is nurturing. I don't think this is news to you, but the problem with this fast-paced world we live in is that we don't have time to nurture as much as children would need. And so a few generations ago, people started telling moms and parents that convenience is more important than anything else, that if you respond to your baby's needs, you're spoiling them, and that it will make them needy, dependent, and not good society members in the future. And so many parents fell for that because they're under stress. They were taken advantage of, and sometimes they still are. Except there's not much to prove that this is true, actually. What we know now in our 21st century, with the research in neuroscience especially, is that nurturing is actually the key to better mental health and better independence. So, responding to our children is natural, okay? All mammals do it. And as humans who think we know better, we are not always being very good mammals. We need nurturing, love, safety. And our babies need this so later on they can feel safer. They can be more independent and more self-confident. The neural pathways that are made in children between 0 and 3 years old are so fast. They are the basis of everything. So some say, no, It doesn't matter because they won't remember what you did to them when they were little. So it doesn't matter. Just let them cry, leave them alone. But maybe that their visual and verbal memory is not going to recall what happened. But the emotional memory does. It does leave an impact. It does remember. And this impact on the person is for life. If a child is not nurtured, as they grow, they have to fix this issue for themselves later on. And well, if they don't, their mental health is affected. I'm not making this up, okay? Like, it's not to be like big drama or anything. There are many, many scientists, specialists in neuroscience and in the field of psychology who have the research and papers to show us that nurturing, responding to our babies, is the key for a better mental health for them in the future. If you don't believe me, I suggest you read something like The Nurture Revolution by Greer Kirchenbaum, or that you also look into Gabor Maté's work, Dr. Neufeld. They all have this to back me up. So no, you cannot spoil your baby. You can respond, carry, rock, kiss, love your baby. You will learn to know them and what they want. And in the process, you will discover parts of you. Parts of your inner child will come back also. But you will also discover yourself as a nurturing parent. Now, I want to add, before I leave you to this, I want to say that in this fast-paced world, this can only happen if we also care for the parents, if we support them. Their mental health is important. And because being a parent can be, quite hard, it has its its moments, the parents need this support in postpartum, of course, but also beyond. A mom who feels heard and cared for will nurture their child naturally. But it's a lot harder when she feels overlooked, exhausted, and has no confidence in her abilities to be the mom she wants to be. So let's spoil our babies. Let's spoil the moms of this world. Until next time. Thank you, Mama, for listening to this episode of Understanding Mother Stories podcast. You can find us on Instagram at omamaworld or on our website www.omama.ca.